Welcome to another video. So in this video I am going to derive the expression for the efficiency of the Carnot cycle. So Carnot cycle was discussed comprehensively in the last class. As you have seen earlier, the Carnot cycle consists of 4 reversible processes. So the process 1 to 2 is a reversible isothermal expansion, 2 to 3 is reversible adiabatic expansion, and 3 to 4 is reversible isothermal compression, and 4 to 1 is reversible adiabatic compression. So let us consider an ideal gas in a cylinder fitted with a frictionless piston. So the initial pressure, volume and temperature of the gas are P1, V1 and T1. So the cylinder is insulated on its periphery, so it can transfer heat along the head of the cylinder only. So here the process 1 to 2 is a reversible isothermal expansion process, where we are keeping a thermal reservoir of temperature T1 in contact with the head of the cylinder. So heat is transferred from the thermal reservoir to the gas. The same amount of work is done by the gas on the surrounding. So the whatever heat transferred to the gas will be converted to work. So the change in internal energy in this process will be 0. So since the internal energy in case of an ideal gas is only a function of temperature, since the change in internal energy is 0, the temperature change also will be 0. So we will have an isothermal process. So gas expands isothermally from state 1 to state 2. When it reaches state 2, its temperature remains the same, and its pressure decreases to P2 and volume increases to V2, and temperature T2 is same as T1. So the gas has expanded isothermally from state 1 to state 2. At state 2, we are removing the reservoir and we are insulating the cylinder head such that the gas is allowed to expand further adiabatically from state 2 to state 3. Since it is an adiabatic expansion, there is no heat transfer to the gas, and since the volume is increasing, the work is done by the gas. So the work done will be at the expense of the internal energy. So internal energy decreases, and temperature also decreases from T1 to T3. Here 1 to 2 temperature remains the same as T1, then 2 to 3 the temperature decreases from T1 to T3. So at state 3, pressure decreases to P3 and volume increases to V3, and temperature is T3. At point 3, again we are removing the insulation from the head of the cylinder, and we are bringing in another thermal reservoir. Now it is a sink which is also at the same temperature as the gas at the T3. We are compressing the piston or compressing the gas isothermally, because when we compress the gas, we are surrounding is doing work on the system. So the same amount of heat is transferred to the system, so that the internal energy change is 0. Since the internal energy change is 0, the temperature change also will be 0. So temperature remains from a constant, that is T3, from state 3 to state 4. It is an isothermal heat transfer process, and the piston is also frictionless. So, we will have a reversible isothermal process from point 3 to point 4. So, gas compresses, pressure increases to pressure increases to P4, and volume decreases to V4, and temperature remains the same as T3. So, T4 equal to T3. At point 4, again the reservoir is removed and the cylinder head is insulated again, and the gas is allowed to compress further, so that work done on the gas will increase the internal energy of the gas. So, the internal energy increases, similarly the temperature also increases. So, temperature increases from T3 to T1. So, at state 1, our system will be pressure increases to P1, volume decreases to V1, and temperature increases to T1. Thus, the cycle is completed. So, this is the reversible Carnot cycle. 1 to 2 reversible isothermal expansion, 2 to 3 reversible adiabatic expansion, 3 to 4 reversible isothermal compression, and 4 to 1 reversible adiabatic compression. So, now we are going to see all these processes in detail. So, let us consider the process 1 to 2. So, process 1 to 2, we know that it is an isothermal process, the internal energy does not changes. So, we have seen that for an isothermal process, the heat transferred to the system will be equal to the work done by the system. So, that will be equal to m r bar T1 log V2 by V1. This was derived in one of earlier lecture. So, this is the work done during an isothermal process. So, that will be same as the heat transfer to the system. Suppose Q in is the amount of heat supplied to the system, then we know that Q in will be equal to m r T1 log V2 by V1. So, this is the heat supplied to the system, that is same as 1 Q2, that is equal to 1 W2, that is mRT1 log V2 by V1, where T1 is the temperature at which the process happens, that is at from state 1 to state 2, the temperature remains at T1. V2 as the volume at state 2 and V1 is the volume at state 1. So, this is our expression for the heat supplied to the system. Let us consider the process 3 to 4. So, during the process 3 to 4, we have seen that volume decreases. So, work is done on the system, that will be equal to heat rejected or heat transferred from the system. So, 3Q4 equal to 3W4, that is equal to m r T3 log V4 divided by V3. So, as per our thermodynamic sign convention, heat transferred to the system is taken as positive and heat transferred from the system is taken as negative. So, 3Q4, if we calculate this, we will get since V4 is less than V3, this log term will be negative. So, we obtain 3Q4 as a negative number. So, we can know that the heat is rejected from that is heat is transferred from the system to the surrounding. So, if we consider that Qn be the amount of heat rejected from the system, Q out. So, Q out will be the negative of minus 3q4 because it will negative of 3q4 because 3q4 is already negative. So, if we consider the heat rejected by the system, we are actually taking the magnitude of this. So, that will be negative of 3q4, that is equal to minus mRT3 log V4 divided by V3. So, this we can write as Q out is equal to, if we take the negative side inside this log, we can see that m r bar T3 log V3 divided by V4. So, this is the heat transferred to the system and this is the heat rejected by the system. So, there is no need of confusion here. So, 3q4 is actually comes as negative number. So, we are taking the magnitude of that. So, we will take the we'll multiply the 3q4 with the negative 1. So, we will get minus mRT3 log V4 by V3. So, that will be equal to mR bar into T3 log V3 by V4. So, this value V3 is greater than V4. So, this value will be positive. So, this is the heat rejected from the system. So, this is the heat supplied to the system and this is the heat rejected to the system, rejected from the system. Now, we are going to consider the process 2-3. So, for process 2-3, we know that it is a reversible adiabatic process. So, we have the expression for a reversible adiabatic process, that is PV raised to gamma will be a constant. We have seen it before. So, this is actually equivalent to T V raised to gamma minus 1 equal to a constant. So, I have derived this I have shown the proof in another video, so that these two are equivalent. So, you can watch that video, the link is provided here, you can watch the video here. Okay. Then, if we apply this equation between the process 2 and 3, that is T2 V2 raised to gamma minus 1 equal to T3 V3 raised to gamma minus 1. So, that if we rearrange it, we get V2 by V3 is equal to T3 by T2 raised to 1 by gamma minus 1. Now, let us consider the process from 4 to 1. 4 to 1 is again a reversible adiabatic process. So, we have T V raised to gamma minus 1 equal to a constant. So, that says T4 V4 raised to gamma minus 1 equal to T1 V1 raised to gamma minus 1. With that, we can get V1 divided by V4. If we rearrange it, we get V1 by V4 equal to T4 divided by T1 raised to 1 divided by gamma minus 1. So, we can also see that this T3 here at the process 3 to 4 is isothermal. So, we can see that T3 equal to T4 and process 1 to 2, that is also isothermal. From that we can get T1 is equal to T2. If we apply that here, so T3 equal to T4, so I can write T3 as T4 divided by T2 is equal to T1, so I can write it as T4 by T1 is to 1 by gamma minus 1. If we check these two expressions, we can see that their right hand side are same, so the left hand side should be same. So we can say that V2 by V3, V2 divided by V3 will be equal to V1 divided by V4. From that, if you rearrange it, we get V2 divided by V1 equal to V3 by V4. So we are rearranging it. So V3 by V4. So now we are going to calculate the efficiency of the Carnot engine. So this Carnot engine has an high temperature heat reservoir which is at T1, and it receives heat Q in, then it rejects heat Q out to a low temperature reservoir which is at T3, and the difference between two will be the work done by the process, so say W net. So work done W net is equal to Q in minus Q out. So from our earlier discussion, we have obtained these two expressions. So Q in is m r bar T1 log V2 by V1, and Q out is m r bar T3 log V3 by V4, and we have also seen that V2 by V1 equal to V3 by V4. From that we get the Q out, we can write as m r bar T3. V3 by V4 is same as V2 by V1, so we can write it as log V2 by V1. So the efficiency of the Carnot cycle usually represented by letter eta, that is equal to net work done divided by heat supplied, so Q in. So W net is actually Q in minus Q out divided by Q in. So eta is equal to, so Q in is we have already seen that mRT1 log V2 by V1. Q out is mRT3 log V2 by V1. So that is Q in minus Q out, and Q in is again so this is our expression for the efficiency of a Carnot cycle. So we can calculate this here. This log V2 by V1 is common everywhere, so we can cancel it. Similarly, this m r bar also, it's common to all terms, so we can divide it all the terms with m r bar. So if you collect the remaining terms, you will get T1, here T1 minus T3 divided by T1. So that is equal to 1 minus T3 by T1. So this is our efficiency of a Carnot cycle. Efficiency does not depends on any material properties. It does not depend on the Cp, Cv or any substance. It does not depends on the gas we are considering. It only depends on the temperature of the reservoirs. Heat engine works between temperature T1 and temperature T3. So it depends on T3 and T1 only. This is the maximum efficiency we can get from any heat engine. So reversible engine gives the maximum efficiency. Whatever heat engines we use between this temperature T1 and T3, if it is irreversible, the efficiency will be less than the Carnot efficiency. So Carnot efficiency is the maximum efficiency we can get from any heat engine. So we can see that this will never be 100%. For it to be 100%, we have to get T3 equal to 0. So T3 to 0 happens only at the absolute 0, that 0 Kelvin. If temperature is 0 Kelvin, then only this 100% efficiency is possible. So if the system is rejecting heat to 0 Kelvin, then 100% efficiency is possible, but 0 Kelvin is not theoretically possible. Usually in heat engines which is working in the atmosphere will be rejecting heat to the atmosphere itself. So T3 will be usually the atmospheric temperature. T1 is the usually the source temperature from which it is getting the heat. So always the efficiency will be less than the 100%. So that's about this lecture. Thank you for listening.